We're back. We're live. I know.
We're back. Are we back?
I'm doing Bike's Laugh.
That was fun.
For the whole audience. It's the whole show. The new show.
What, for the next 10 minutes while you're here? Before you,
yeah, for the next 10 minutes before I go. Yes. Do you want to, does anyone else want to do the show? Or are we just doing the Bike Laugh? The Bike Laugh Show.
The Bike Laugh
Dinosaur
Show.
Train.
Pillsbury Doughboy.
Yeah, that is the Pillsbury Doughboy that I'm doing. Yeah, we're not live.
We're not
It's
live.
on loop.
No, it's not, dude. You have a delay.
You have a delay.
Riot says the show had an epic fail.
Yeah, well,
Who says that?
that is
Riot.
true.
Tell him to hang on. I'm going to be on momentarily.
Yeah,
He loves me.
Oh,
he
yeah,
does.
that's
He's actually
good.
psyched that you're coming on.
Does he even know?
Is he waiting through
knows.
the technical difficulty to bask in my womanly aura? Ask him that.
Matt Riot, Cheesecake Lady wants to know if you're waiting through the technical difficulty to bask in her womanly aura.
Answer now.
Answer now. Jessica, you can come on mic and camera, do the whole thing. Join us. Dab recovering. We're coming back. I'm getting attacked with a torch. Do this one. Do this one. Do this one. Do this one. Right, and move the chair right in front of that one.
I'm moving.
That's the one.
All right, we're back.
We're back. Are we really back?
According to Matt.
Well, this one
That's all right,
works.
That's that dude's chair.
That's that dude's chair. Exactly. Now we're back. Back.
From our
Live
epic
on the
fail.
Adam Dunn Show with Cheesecake Lady.
Mega Epic Fail Part 12.
Part 3.
Now
We're-
that I'm here, we can really start.
Mercury's in retrograde, so...
Is it? Again?
No,
Are you kidding
yes.
me?
Yes,
Wait,
it is.
no,
It is
yes,
till the
it
20th of the month.
It started on the 18th. It would be all.
It is
No,
the
it's not.
Of the next month, it is.
I feel like they just say
3
Mercury's
weeks.
in retrograde every fucking 3 weeks with
Three-
that.
three-
No,
Three
Mercury's
times
in
a year.
retrograde.
Like
I'm
three
giving
times
you
a
an
year.
excuse,
It's
kid.
three
Would you
times a
rather
year.
me say that there's human failure?
No, but you watch the computer. It just fucking
It did. It did
It
just...
went retrograde.
poof.
It went retrograde. That was it. That was the power of
Crazy
Mercury.
computer.
So, Jessica, welcome back to the show.
Well, I actually had to come back because I missed the adulation of the fanboys, but they have such a short little span of attention. I had to come back.
No, tell me about it.
You
That's
don't
why
want-
we
you don't
do it
wanna
every
leave
week.
for too long, otherwise, yeah, they'll just be like, who? But that's good, too.
You gotta stay relevant. Otherwise, you're yesterday's news.
I know all about that.
So, tell us about the stupid new laws here in Colorado.
Well, we talked a little bit about it when I was here before. On Monday, the governor signed most of those stupid new laws. So I loved the NPR coverage. My coverage will be a little bit of the anti-NPR coverage, where NPR blew a bunch of smoke up the listener's ass about Jack's Law. And I'm going to say straight up, the only reason the governor, there's no way in hell Governor Hickenlooper, based on his track record, would sign a law to allow kids to smoke weed at school.
Yeah, no, he's not cool enough for
and
that.
that is definitely not what happened. He knows damn well that every school receives federal funding, which basically precludes them from being able to permit this. So they pasted a nice permission slip with no actual ability for any school to use it. Now, schools may choose to don't ask, don't tell, and not disclose, but I have a sincere doubt that any federally funded school is going to use their federally funded tax dollars that pay for the school nurse to permit the school nurse to administer patches or edibles.
Sure.
So it was a feel-good thing that's been reported in the news. But what's really the meat behind it, if you listen to the facts, is that it gives the Board of Health the ability to crack down on doctors who are writing higher plant counts. So basically this is going to put the few doctors who will still see patients into a little bit more fear of God of losing their medical license, which, if you go back in history, and you know, I mean, this is my whole thing, that I know the history of all the bullshit that preceded. So if you go back to like 2011, they passed a law that said you had to have a bona fide relationship
right.
with your medical professional. So how can the Board of Health, who have never seen me and never seen my medical records, second guess my, at this point, 6-year-long bona fide relationship with my medical professional?
Right.
That's bullshit, but I digress. Reality is that Chris Urbina, who was fired from his job for corruption, said that you had to have this bona fide relationship. Dr. Wolk is now saying that this bona fide relationship can be undermined by the Board of Health through secondary means to determine that there are patients who do or do not determine. So basically...
Matt Riot says he'll give you a bona fide relationship.
I want to say something mean, but he's my only fan, so I got to be nice here.
So, Oh, I'm sorry. I just saw that in the chat room and completely derailed me.
You did. You derailed my fucking political ranting.
I know.
James is
Fucking
a
A,
big fan.
Matt.
James is a big
Save
fan.
your fucking diatribe till after I'm done ranting, and we'll see if I'll humor you. Anyway, basically, this allows the CDPHE and the few employees that have had a pretty lackluster employee relationship with the patients for the past 15 years to second-guess every doctor relationship and reject higher plant counts.
So I read something, and maybe this was nothing, that they're specifically looking at restructuring the definitions around the chronic pain recommendation. Is that accurate at all?
Yeah, well, they had a recent meeting of the Board of Health, which is part of the CDPHE, and they did agree to add PTSD. It's not finalized and it's not part of the registry yet. Still has a few more steps to take before that can happen, but we're the closest we've ever been, so that's exciting.
That is exciting.
But part of what they did on the tail end of that, what they always do is they like kind of try to offer a little bit of something that we want, and then they fucking kick us in the proverbial nuts.
Right.
And so what they did as part of that meeting was to say, oh, but if we're going to offer PTSD, we've got to take all these chronic pain people who were really using their fake chronic pain because they had PTSD and were veterans. We've got to find a way to solve that loophole, which is bullshit.
Two separate things, yeah.
Exactly. And my feeling is if I'm telling my doctor and my doctor buys this, that I have chronic pain and I would like to use cannabis to treat it, maybe just because I don't want to take aspirin for a headache,
Sure.
for whatever reason.
Right.
It may not be chronic every single day, but on the times that my pain is chronic, it might be chronic, and I might prefer to use cannabis.
Right.
And there's so many implications here. The basic general gist legislatively from the Board of Health, both across the board, is we need more tax revenue. This is not being driven by medical need or fears. This is being driven by industry lobbying specifically for these changes so that they can have more revenue. And it's a double-handed sword. Industry lobbies for these things, and then they promise the legislature that there will be more tax revenue if they promote these things. So this is not being driven by patients. It's not being driven by the will of the people. It's being driven specifically by a small microcosm focused on revenue.
Well, and we can completely see that. You know, look at how things are getting shut down, and you're seeing, on the one hand, they're shutting down caregivers. So
right, that's part of the same bill.
Right, exactly. And then on the other hand, they're getting rid of chronic pain. They're just like paring everything down and trying to focus everything into the medical market, or the recreational market, where they can get their 28%.
Exactly. And I mean, you look at it, whereas, you know, back in the good old days of 2008 when we just had our friend that we went over to their house and then we had to watch a movie on their VCR for a while, it was $50, no taxes, for an eighth.
Right.
You know, and that was the price. Then it was like $30 for an eighth, and it was still some pretty decent weed, or it might be some pretty shitty weed, depending on where you shopped. But, you know, it was like, hey, $30, this is awesome. But now it's like $65 again.
Sure.
And, I mean, you know, I still just have my own relationships with my friends and stuff and grow my own, which is how it should be. But essentially we have these problems where they're going to crack down on the doctors that give higher plant counts, and they're going to crack down on the number of patients that can be registered to a caregiver. So it's ridiculous because they're trying to say, you know, there are only roughly a little under, just shy of 4,000 registered caregivers in the state of Colorado.
Okay.
There are well over 4,000 registered licensed businesses that have a lot higher plant counts than these 4,000 caregivers.
Right.
And they're trying to implicate the 4,000 caregivers with no discussion whatsoever of the home growers who are outside the caregiver program, that this is the entire source of diversion.
So
there's no way the sheer volume of plants that are getting found outside the state could be just those couple thousand growers, when you have probably 100,000 people in the state growing something.
Right.
And most of those people are definitely not participating in the caregiver program. They're just growing as many plants as they want.
And so what's your take on that?
I don't have any problem with that. I say go big, grow whatever you fucking want. It should be as legal as tomatoes, and that's not my problem to sort out. What you choose to do and what you choose to grow isn't my problem to sort out. It's law enforcement's problem to sort out. I ain't gonna fucking help them.
Right.
But I also think that for us to sit here and all be passive and allow all these laws to pass so that now people who are wanting to do what they want to do because that's the right thing to do have more harsh penalties, more prison time, more serious felony charges, that sucks. And
Right.
so I do feel like if we want to grow big and we want to grow plants, which is what we collectively probably all would like to have happen, we should stand up, have a little fucking balls, and influence the political process with some participation instead of expecting me to go down there and do all of this by my fucking self.
Well, and let me speak to that if I may. I mean, I think you're right. But the thing is I love you for what you do and what you go down and you shake your fist at them and you get angry at them and you tell them how it should be. And I'm 100% with you, behind you. Everything that you speak to me is truth. But the other part of it, it's just like, for me, I would rather fight that fight out in the field, and I think that's kind of what you see in this respect of POTUS and, catching the criminal charges now. And, yeah, we're going to have to defend ourselves in court. And, the thing is that people don't want to be in the position that I'm in or Norm's in or Ed or Ryan or anybody else. Nobody wants criminal charges levied at them. And so the constitutional amendment legalized cannabis in the state of Colorado, and it explicitly says is that they can't recriminate it. And so a lot of this speaks to that, and I think ultimately if it is challenged, if the people have the balls, it will be challenged and it'll be struck down.
Well, and it could happen legislatively, or it could happen judicially. But, on either way, we don't have what we bargained for here, is I guess the moral of the story.
I feel what happens is that industry and the influence of its lobbyists are undermining the Constitution. And we aren't standing up and saying, fuck the Constitution, and Amendment 20 precludes any legislation. Amendment 64 precludes any legislation. The letter of the law matters. And the fact is, we are writing laws that are not based on the letter of the Constitution. And we have had violation after violation after violation of the Constitution. I think there will be precedents set with the bill, the lawsuit filed by Kathleen Chipai in regards to the Department of Health stealing the $10 million of registry money. And I think that's a really important precedent that we need to see what that happens, because the Constitution specifically says that monies can only be gathered for processing the registry cards, and that cannot be used for any other purpose. And so when they transferred that money to being given to out of state, and I mean, this is the most egregious part of it, they gave a large portion of that money, maybe 60% of that money, to states that don't even have any medical cannabis program. And they're supposed to study cannabis in those states. It's just throwing our money and pissing it away. And it's stolen money that was a violation of the Constitution. So I believe we are going to have some serious repercussions if this does, actually get a fair trial. I don't know if it's possible to get a fair trial anymore.
That's the next question.
Yeah,
So
in 64, it's funny because 64 also says that nothing in 64 affects Amendment 20 whatsoever.
Right.
So they are two completely separate constitutional amendments in the state of Colorado. People need to understand that, and basically every law that is implemented underneath those constitutional amendments has to comply to that amendment's writing. And most of them that are going through right now simply aren't.
Well, I mean, essentially you're asking our elected officials to read the Colorado State Constitution. I think that's pretty generous of you, Chris. And, I can't tell you how many conversations I have had at the Capitol with various elected officials, and I'm not talking freshmen. I'm talking people in their second and third, people who are term limited, and they are completely ignorant of the actual wording of the Constitution. And they don't like to have you tell them what the Constitution says because lobbyists have already told them what they want the bill to say. So it's really not about the Constitution of the state of Colorado. It's about the will of a very small, influential group of people. And that's what I've been going to the Capitol consistently for 8 to 10 years, and I see the same consistent attrition of a few people who are willing to write bills, Dan Pabone. I mean, there are people who we need to get out of office, but they live in districts where they don't even they run unopposed. And so essentially they can do whatever they want to cannabis, and that's a big problem. We need people to step up and actually run for offices and to participate in the primaries. We also need to change the state of Colorado to have an open primary law where the top 2 candidates from any 2 parties or any 5 parties or any 7 parties, those top 2 candidates go into a runoff election in November, and that's how we decide who people
And I think
get
we
picked.
need to bring some light to the situation and put some public pressure on the officials as well. So I think in that respect, it just needs to be done, like
Are
that,
we all rolling over?
as opposed to, things need to be done in legislation, and the right people need to be voted in. But you got to understand that everything is not a one platform item for politicians. Like the cannabis fighters, some of the politicians are getting on the side of cannabis, and that's about as far as it gets. The old mentality is prohibition, and so they can't seem to shift their minds out of the old mentality of prohibition. And so as we gain some of these victories, like it's no different than Ed's case. Ed's case last year was a victory. The DA did throw that case out, but no light was shed on it. So as soon as they had the ability to kick him in the balls again, they did.
Right.
And so I think as long as that continues and there is no accountability with the mayor's office, the police department in the city of Denver, because pretty much whatever Denver does, the state follows. And I think that's key
here,
to
I think
what's
everybody here
going
is
on.
everybody here is pretty timid. Also, I mean, nobody's really standing up because nobody wants to get. It's kind of like everybody's in that zone where
It's
like
fucking whack-a-mole.
it's literally like in the Dutch have a saying for it where it's the highest blade of grass gets cut down first, so it's like you don't want to rise up a bunch, you don't want to get too good, you just kind of stay low, stay in that mid-range somewhere, don't do too good. That puts too much attention. Don't do too
and
bad.
I think complacency is really, like most people will look at somebody else and be like, "Oh, dude, that's a bad situation. Sorry to hear about it." Good luck with that. And I think that's for most of us. But if you really want to, enjoy cannabis in the state of Colorado like alcohol, then I'm sorry, the people that are in power right now aren't gonna just let you do that. You're gonna have to tell them that it's your right, and you're gonna have to prove these models and show that they work and they exist and that they're fine.
Yeah.
That or it's going to have to go down, just like I said about the gun laws went down south
Start
where
calling people,
they recalled them, and
Yeah.
those people lost their jobs.
It's hard for people that are outside of our box in this room to be passionate about cannabis. If you don't consume cannabis, you can probably look at it and say, yeah, they might be right. But they're not jumping into the fire. They're not jumping into the flames. If you're in this industry, and let's say if you're a badged employee and you actually have a grow, I mean, I'm a badged owner in the city of Aurora, and so I have to navigate all these laws, and try to take care of business. I mean, it makes it very difficult. So when you're worried about the laws all the time, and trying to maintain a business, you don't want to rock the boat at all because you got enough problems on your plate as it is.
Yeah, no, for sure. And you can just be the next, sort of model of their next way to kind of change or fuck your people over, because they always know, obviously whoever comes out with a good idea, and I like, it's kind of always like when you see shops when they have buy a pipe and get a free dab or whatever. It's always like, how long with the big billboard or whatever? You're like, how long is that fun going to last? Because you know how bad it is already for everybody else, and you're putting it on a sign. I mean, I saw that last week. I was just like, wow, they're putting it out there sometimes, but each person who does that, sometimes it helps, and usually it just gets them in trouble in the long run.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, when you break it back down and you look at the opposite side, like there used to be tons of drink specials. Come in and get your first drink free at the bar,
Or at the strip club.
or at the strip club or whatever. So, from that respect, it's not that outlandish when you.
It's not at all, but
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
no,
in the
I
sense
understand.
of knowing how
Well,
hard
and
it
that's
is.
the thing, and then it's all skewed to make look bad. I mean, it's no different than Blue Mountains. I don't. In 2009 when I opened my dispensary and I was carrying the cheesecakes from the THC here, I had people telling us we were going to jail collectively then. I had dozens of people tell me, you're going to jail, you're out of your mind, you got this dispensary open, you're going to jail. And we never went to jail. We stood legally on our ground, and we moved into a market that was highly regulated after that. And it's been overregulated. And here we are, 5 years later, and again, I'm maybe ahead of the curve. And yes, we do have a collective. Yes, we do provide reimbursement. Yes, we did have a clubhouse where you could enjoy those things.
My God.
But again, those are all legal. Those are all within the constitutional. And I've had people tell me again, dude, you're going to jail. And my position is look, I'm going to go through this court process. I'm going to go through these 2 court cases. They're going to get dropped, or they're going to get acquitted, just like my court case for growing illegal medical marijuana cannabis in 2010. It took 5 court cases, $3,500, and a year of my life to tell Adams County that I can grow weed legally. And once they realized that they didn't have a position, they dropped the case.
Right.
So if you understand the law, if you're within the industry, and you don't understand the law, okay, you've got a problem. I'll tell you that right now. Okay?
Well, you got to keep up on it too.
And you do have to keep up on it, and you have to stay abreast on it. But if you haven't read the fundamental constitutional amendment in the state of Colorado, and it's not long. I mean, it's like 2 pages. Doesn't take long. But it has such broad shoulders once you really dissect it down, that most of the legislation that has been passed underneath it, especially 1317, is unconstitutional. And it will take a challenge. It will take someone to step up to the plate. It will take a class action lawsuit or whatever those mechanisms are to make that happen. But until the people that are making profits out there, the people that are controlling the MIGs and the MPP, all these organizations, these lobby organizations that are all working for their own agendas, as long as their pocketbooks are still filling, okay, and the regulations are keeping others out of their pocketbooks, man, they're on board, and they're going to stay on board, and you won't ruffle one feather with those guys. They will stay complacent, they will collect their checks, and if you guys win the battle, good job. If you don't, sorry, you went down in flames.
Well, I think essentially that's the problem, and I think so many people are delusional to think that they're that big guy that's going to make it through ruffled of their feathers. And a lot of the mom and pops I started with in 2009, you and I and a bunch of other people, that I had people all over the state. And I've watched them, and it's, every 8 weeks somebody calls me up and they're like, we really thought we were going to make it. And how, what, now what? Now what do we do? Can you recommend somebody to help us sell our business to some big profiteer that has basically been cutting our throat for 15 months? And we were in bed with them most of the time because we believed that we were going to be that strong independent that made it. And the fact is, the state is not designed for independent businesses. You've got to have a bunch of these businesses to make it profitable, or you're not, you're just struggling too hard to keep up with the Joneses.
And opening the dispensary in 2009, I spent $40,000. I got 2 glass cases, 2 pounds of weed, and I told you to bring in your red card. Okay, applying for the same license in the city of Aurora last year was a minimum of $400,000 required in the bank to show proof.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I had to go through that with some investors last year, and they had to get the money and put it in the bank. But you're talking about your mom and pop operations like mine that could have gotten in with a $40,000 check and some glass cases. You're not even going to touch these models now. And as the states evolve, they implement the same models and make them more strict.
And that $400,000 didn't guarantee you a license. It was a competitive application in Aurora.
Yeah, in fact, we were denied on that application.
Wow. And you don't get nothing back.
No, we don't get anything back. In fact, and now I had to turn in another application for the grow in the city of Aurora. So now I'm a badged owner in the city of Aurora. And so the thing is like people, a lot of people look at me like, dude, you got a badge. What are you doing? You're out of your mind. You're rolling in this club. Da 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 da. What are you crazy? No, I know my rights. Okay, I've read the constitutional amendment. I know the legal ground I'm standing on. I can go into a court of law and prove my position. Now, if I can just get the police off my nuts and I can get the mayor's office off my nuts, I can go out there and run these models down and do them successfully.
Yeah, no, and again, it's going to happen. It's just like getting the last couple people out of the way that are just trying to throw up as many roadblocks as they can. And
I don't even think those are our old enemies. I think those are our new enemies, the new infiltrators and profiteers that have come into this industry. The old enemies that we had have kind of just been like, it's fucking legal. The cops, I mean, the cops are on your nuts because
Of the mayor's
Hancock.
office. Yes, exactly.
It's
Understood.
not. It's not. I don't think it's Robert
And
White.
most of the cops are in the club, rolling their eyes, like, "Oh my God, I can't even believe we're here doing this."
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but
Which
they
they should
are.
be.
Well, and I mean, you got fucking what's her name, Gaia, Meg. She sucked a cop's tip. She's been married to a fucking cop, and nobody fucking calls her out on that shit. You know, come the fuck on. Like, you gonna fucking smoke weed, grow by somebody who sucked a cop's dick? Come the fuck on. Or if she didn't, she's a shitty wife. Come on. I'm sorry I said that, but you know, I just say what I think about people.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I mean, it's all the mayor's office. Look, when Linkhart was running against Hancock for the nomination, he didn't get it, and Linkhart had a very pro-cannabis platform.
He was cool.
Yeah, exactly. And Hancock was very anti-cannabis, very anti-marijuana. He, in fact, had a brother that passed away of drugs, so he's convinced that marijuana is the gateway drug, and so that's where a lot of the problem
but don't
lies.
forget that he campaigned at the 420 rally and had his picture taken there for publicity. So he fucking is two-faced as hell.
Well, they both talk. They all take it.
Well, that's
Talk
the thing.
out of
As
both
it gets,
sides of their mouths.
it's funny as it gets closer to election, it'll be like a flip flop between whether you want to be behind it or not, because you'll be against it when it really has to be conveniently against it at that
Sure.
time. But then, right when it gets near election, and they see that could be the make or break, that's when everybody all of a sudden starts to become.
I think 2016 will really start to see a change, but I also think fundamentally, we need to have three things happen that are not happening, which is not just about cannabis, but about change, and it's that people need to get participating in jury duty so they can nullify cases where there is no victim, no crime.
I've got 2 cases coming up. Please go to jury.
I mean, this means you register to vote. You register to vote, you're on for jury duty, you get called for jury duty, and you go. And you don't say that you're there to nullify victimless cases. You just fucking do that shit.
Here.
And
Truth.
that is what we need to do. If you
Number
don't,
one.
and there's 2 reasons this is helpful. Because number one, it puts the fucking expense of prosecution back on the state. If they can't charge you, they can't get money out of you, and therefore the expense of prosecution goes to the state. All of the court fees, etc., are paid by the state in that instance. The more times that happens, the less exciting it is for them to prosecute cases where it's potentially costly to them.
That is correct.
Number 2, if people are participating in jury duty and actually getting the ballot and voting, we need people to participate in primaries, and we need people to run for offices. And I'm not just talking about, in Park County where I live, the ballot when I got it, and I just moved there, I'd say 65% of the candidates were Republicans running unopposed. Now, the reality is, the people who live it out there, they think that they've got the Republican Party knocked up so tight that I meet liberal people and they're like, I don't really vote because it's no point, because it's just Republicans. There's no primary. They don't even have a caucus for the Democratic Party in the county. But that doesn't mean the Democratic Party is a good choice. We need third parties, we need fourth parties, we need fifth parties, and we need people participating and getting elected based on citizen participation on small elections so that their names are recognized so that they can run for bigger elections.
Yeah, and I think we need to start in City Council in the City of Denver and really work that angle as well. I know we had a concerted effort this time around. There was, some people that were running on the platforms. There were some people that were getting behind those people. Obviously, it didn't pan out. There weren't enough votes there for us. But a little more organization and a little more push and a little more understanding of how this needs to be done and executed, and it can get done. I mean, we did legalize weed in the state.
I think also you can't be a one-issue candidate. You can't be a weed-only candidate. You've got to have something to offer to other people in the community, be it the education community, be it the anti-fracking community. There are alleys out there for us, but we're not making those bridges. We're just, we stay so focused on our weed relationships, but we need to be in relationships with people of color, who are being prosecuted by the law. We need to be in relationships with the gay community because, honestly, if you look at where the gay community was over 50 years ago, they didn't have very many rights. And I look at what they've done as being very inspirational. And we could learn a lot from them by getting a little bit more organized and deciding what we want. Half the time we can't decide what we want, and we get too pissed off right there before we get to the meat of the matter. But I think essentially there are enough people at a tipping point where it's like, we want this to be as legal as tomatoes, apples, carrots. Just grow what you want, do what you want with it, and
At the very least, alcohol.
I think that's... I think it's just a shitty analogy.
I
know you got a question for Jessica.
Swing it.
That mic doesn't work. I got a question for Jessica. I was just talking to Warren the other day, and he mentioned a new law that had passed that was specifically lobbied, I think, by 7-Eleven or the convenience industry about no selling of anything that doesn't have THC in recreational stores. Essentially, you can't sell a soda pop, a bottle of water, a T-shirt, or it has to be a THC item to be in the store. Where did that come from, or what do you know about that, or what the hell is up with that?
That's actually been kicking around since 2013, since about February of 2013. It was based on the fact that, and this is going to sound crazy, but the first person who brought that up was somebody who wanted to say that liquor stores aren't allowed to sell more than like that little limon. I mean, they're not allowed to sell anything that's food. They can sell soda because it's a mixer, but they couldn't sell other stuff, T-shirts, promotional. They could give that stuff away. So the guy who was on the recommendation panel from the liquor store essentially said that you had to have things that were THC related. However, in that very meeting, the issue came up. What about shirts with just our business's logo? What about promotional stuff? We're not allowed to advertise
anything
outside of the business.
Mm-hmm.
So in here, we're allowed to have stickers, T-shirts, blah, 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 blah. And this was basically a backdoor attempt by the alcohol industry to, you know, and then I think 7-Eleven and them are wanting to get in bed with the alcohol lobby, so that doesn't shock me that they would want to prohibit things that they could compete with, because they can sell pipes, they can sell papers, they can sell sodas and energy drinks that say cannabis on them. I mean, you drive past some little 7-Elevens and they got a big flapping one of those, whatever the fucking wind things that says cannabis energy drink, and yet a cannabis business that's licensed by the state of Colorado can't say cannabis outside their own business.
Okay, so we got a caller calling in. I think I may know who this is.
This is horrible.
I think it's the Las Vegas update, actually. Hello there, you got the Adam Dunn Show. Who we got on the line?
Hey, how you doing, Adam? This is Nate with Red Dragon Brothers.
Hey, Nate, how you doing? We got the call from our buddy Uncle Stoner there that you might be giving us a shout. Give us a little update on the earlier info that we got about, not necessarily, you know, like we said, we're open to hear about what the hell's going on, because it sounded like it was a bit of a shit show anyway out there. Can you...
Yeah, it was pretty, you know, HempCon definitely didn't turn out how, you know, most people expected. And we're, you know, we're pretty unhappy about that and the effect it has on the industry and everything getting started out here. And I'm pretty distraught about it, you know, and we would definitely like to explain any questions that you guys have, you know, please feel free to ask us. And
well, I mean, I think the biggest thing that came up, I think when your name came up, it was about the samples and all the not getting the samples back or something like that. I think that was the gist of the story we had. Is that any of that got cleared up, or?
Basically, what right now we're getting ready to review the cameras, and we're trying to figure out exactly who it is, and we're going to release that as soon as we know. And we're working as one of the pinnacle people in the focus groups in this town. Mm-hmm. We're working our hardest to help the people who got taken advantage of in this situation, however it ended up happening. We're looking to help them and basically and get this taken care of as fast as possible, my friends. Yeah,
because I mean, it is like you know, it takes a lifetime to build a reputation, and it takes like a day to ruin it, right? You know, that's how it looks. And this industry is pretty, you know, there is some solidarity at good moments where, and I think you're hanging out right now with Pony Boy and Medicinal Mike. I heard is that your crew?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yeah. So, I mean, as you know, like those guys are all at every show, and we're all, you know, we all see. It's like literally going to the same sort of like class reunion like 6 times a year. You know, you're like, Jesus Christ, hey.
Oh, welcome up. There's Pony Boy.
You know, and so like pretty much every show I'll run into Pony Boy or Mike. Probably run into you too. But you know, that's how.
These guys, so they're great. They're great friends, man. You know, and I'm really thankful that they, you know, put this opportunity. And again, I know who you are too, and it's you know, it's an honor to talk to you, man. You know, honest to God, it really is. You know, and the effect that that this is having on me right now. I'm just trying to keep it together and keep my composure because, we're this is something we ended up getting wrapped into. And again, we think we get it and we've got it pretty much figured out and taken care of.
Right.
But we need to confirm that, and make sure that the facts are correct before I go releasing or saying anything that I don't know. I'm just a family man, dude, that got wrapped up into this, and I'm going to try my hardest, and I'm going to do everything I can with every connection that I have here in Vegas, living here almost 20 years, to figure this out and make sure that it gets taken care of correctly.
Sure. Well, no good deed goes unpunished, I'm sure. So you'll hear that again in your life. And
Right,
I think
absolutely.
you guys had the one of the few shops that were being, cool enough to let people do the intake. And I know how these things go. I mean, the cups are definitely have always had crazy stuff go down. In Amsterdam, when we've had times where the cops took all the weed, and they came back and asked us for more, and we were like, really, more? Like, usually that's it. You entered it once, and everybody had to re-enter it, and then half of it went missing, and it was just like that same, kind of crazy stuff goes down, and hopefully you guys can get to the bottom of it, and you can keep us updated, too. You can keep the number, give us a shout, and, kind of like keep us updated, and hopefully, we'll help you crack it if we can.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Adam. I appreciate that. And thank you guys for having me on. And we will, I will definitely be in touch with everybody, and we're going to get to the bottom of this as quickly as we possibly can. I promise the entire community, every state that, because this is very important to us, with Las Vegas having reciprocity in place, and most everybody from every state coming here on a regular basis, and being able to establish themselves here and have a good, comfortable time.
Sure.
This has set us back so far. And I'm going to do everything I can, and RDB is going to do everything that we can as a team and a network in this town, having worked and established and worked our asses off, fellas, forever, man, to help the patients in the community. And again, we got pulled into this, and we think we know who it is. And once we establish those facts, we're gonna get it all straightened out.
Nice. We have another caller, but you can hang on there if you want for a second. We have a second caller there? Hello? Yes, you're on the Adam Dunn Show. Who we got there?
How's it going? This is Alex with Team Gas.
Hey, what's going on? Calling in
Not
from...
too bad. You guys are talking about Vegas, huh?
Yeah, we were. What's going down with that? You were there too, right?
Yeah, we were there. We had a booth. It was definitely interesting, to say the least.
Exactly. No, you never expect. Well, you guys get anything any problems, or it was skated through it?
Well, every time you go into a show, it's known that you're not supposed to be vending, you're not supposed to be smoking, and with what happened with HempCon, we were all given an email beforehand explicitly telling us not to bring anything into the event. Not to be caught smoking out around in the public areas, and we complied. We didn't really bring much with us to Vegas because of that, and we didn't have any problems.
Let me ask you something real quick. Were you guys told there was to be a 215 medication area originally?
Were we told there would be a medication area?
Originally?
To my knowledge, no.
See, I was in Vegas as well, guys, and this is my experience. I bought probably the last booth of Entrapment Con, and essentially the dude sold me 100% on a medicating area 215. Bring your D-nails, bring your whole setup. Yes, I sell seeds. Yes, I'm a dispensary. Yes, I'm all this stuff. I'm coming here. It's reciprocal. All cards will be recognized. Doctors on site. I was sold all this shit, hook, line, and sinker. So I bought a booth, $1,200 right there, came in, took 30 seconds of looking at the joint and said, fuck no. I mean, there was a line of cop cars on Friday when I was trying to unload the booth. And I walked up to the dudes and I'm like, where's the medicating area? What's up with this? And the guy looked at me and started laughing. And, I'm going to put this on HempCon because I didn't get an email. I didn't get shit. I rolled down there full car deep, flew employees in, got hotel rooms for the whole weekend, just like everybody else. And it's fucking bullshit, I feel bad for the guys that got rolled. And I heard the earlier caller today. I don't know all the details, so I don't want to speculate on anything that I don't know. But what I saw on Friday was the Medable guy didn't sell shit. He fucking was setting up chocolates. He put 2 or 3 chocolates out in a display case and got walked off in the back and rolled. And that's when I said, fuck this, we're out of here. Packed the shit up, went to San Bernardino, went to this 5K Green Mile, had an awesome time at NOS Event Center, vended like crazy. It was fucking awesome. 2 hours away. And, you know, I want to see Vegas become the new Mecca with the reciprocal cards and all that. But, you know, HempCon's responsible for selling that shit hook, line, and sinker to me. And like I said, I didn't get an email. Car was packed deep rolling there. We walked in and talked to Dunn at Sin City, and he's like, seeds are in the car, bro. We're not fucking doing shit here. And like I said, the cop radar vibe was just off the chain. And as far as, you know, we're told we're not allowed to vend and everything else. I mean, yeah, these cups are gray. You go into these things not knowing what's going to happen. Every single one of them is a shit show every single time. You got to roll with the punches. But yeah, I don't pay money to come educate people at a booth. I pay money to come vend. I mean, and they fucking know that. So, you know, that's my piece on it. And I have a lot. You know, I feel for all you guys down there that, you know, set up and went through that bullshit, because it was more undercovers than there was customers, and there's people walking out.
Well,
and I called HempCon, I want my money back. And HempCon
High Time show in 2010, and it was a shit show as well. There weren't any people getting arrested, but I was told the exact same thing: you can't vend, you can't smoke, you can't do any of these things. And I came prepared for that, you know, or unprepared, however you want to look at it.
Sure.
But so I kind of look at it as the same thing. You know, it's the first show in Las Vegas that really has, you know, some credibility behind it. And it's just a process. It's going to take us a little while to, you know, get the police department and the leaders of that area on board with it. And, yeah, we didn't get to vend, and we didn't get to do the things that we absolutely wanted to. But then again, neither did I at the very first High Time show in San Francisco. So I think we just have to, you know, take things with a grain of salt. I mean, we were warned. I don't know why everybody else wasn't, or if they just didn't, you know, get the correspondence. But, you know, we can't just throw, you know, the baby out with the bathwater here and say, oh, all shows are fuck and we're not going to, you know, be doing this anymore. Because we're not allowed to vend. To me, that's sending the wrong message. This isn't about making money, and the people that think that it's all about making money are the ones that are going to have a bad time. I went and spent a lot of money this weekend, and with the understanding that I wasn't going to get any of that back before we even went. I already knew we weren't going to vend. Even if they had told us that we were going to vend, I wasn't going to do it.
See, my point is, and I understand your point, and I agree with you, brother. It's not all about the cash. But when a guy gets on the phone and he's selling me a booth, a salesman telling me all this is going to happen, yada, 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 and I get there and it's all bullshit, that's where my anger comes from. You know what I mean? I've been to plenty of shows where shit show happens.
I have the same issue,
right,
you know, and I'm going to talk to
jumping in here.
My, you know, contact
it's super fucking unprofessional for somebody to sell you a booth.
But, I mean,
straight up,
to throw HempCon under the bus because of what the cops did, I think, is a little premature. We don't have any information saying that HempCon knew this was going to happen and, you know, went ahead and threw the show anyways.
Well, they said Tuesday they were aware DA was coming and all this other stuff. I mean, I would have liked to get that email. I would have got my money back. I'm sorry, brother. Like, I don't want to debate with you back and forth on this, but
I want to say this.
I work every show. And
to get someone to bring product across state line to your event
stage over there, they completely did. The whole thing was misleading, and I'm gonna tell you too. I might even lose my job with them, but man, there's screenshots and everything where they tell you straight out that you know, it's going to be a screen, you know, private messages like, hey, we're not going to have weed there, but we're going to have weed there. As far as they sign contracts to allow X amount of cops there, they're aware of every cop that's going to be there. They might not have been aware that the cops are going to be there, you know, 2 months ago when they started planning the event, but they sold all them booths 2 months ago and then sent out that email a week before it, so you were already screwed out because they weren't giving refunds.
So essentially it sounds like everybody was fucked from Jump Street. They knew exactly how many cops were going to be there and said, come to our fucking, like you said, entrapment fest,
and
2015.
I feel for the promoter, guys. Don't get me wrong. I'm not here to shit all over HempCon on this thing. I mean, it's a shitty situation, but it could have been handled differently, man. They could have. High Times had a shitty situation in Amsterdam, and they gave everybody a free booth in San Bernardino. I mean, they handled it the best that they could. I mean, shit happens, but, you know,
Well, I think HempCon definitely needs to make it up to everyone. I'm hoping to, you know, get...
They're working on that now. We're not hearing so far. They're talking about giving out free booths. and just doing whatever they can to recoup. They did, in a little defense, they seemed just as shocked and pissed off at the way it went down. And what happened is we had Las Vegas Hemp Fest out here last year in October, and that went beautifully.
Right.
And then you have this event, and if you don't work with the police in ways that we all know to get an event booked in Vegas that you have to, same as in California, then they make a very clear message. And they did that. They did that. They had 4 police officers and 14 undercovers in the building.
Yeah,
and everyone knows out here too. That's absolutely true, Nate. They're not allowed. There's no legal co-ops in Vegas yet. There's none, and that's not only federal, state legal. They're so new with it. It was just a little bit of Cali shock. People came in. I mean, even if everything didn't go wrong, it's a little silly to think you could sell weed in Vegas in public. Regardless of who's telling you. If someone tells you that something's a good idea, you have to be educated enough, especially if you're investing your own money, to check that out. Because I knew that weeks before. I try to tell everybody, if you show up with something that says made in California or you're trying to sell something, you're going to go to jail. I just thought they'd wait till they make arrests.
Yeah, no, I mean, I saw guys selling those pre-rolled joints at the Cup here, and they were all California.
It was an equal fucking. Everybody, I felt like, stuck their dick into everybody's ass.
I like that, brother, yeah.
I just see it as...
I mean, everybody that could get fucked at this event did, and everything that could go wrong did, and, it's a good thing to take as a lesson on how not to do an event. Because if you go there and you don't do your research and you half-ass it, this is what's going to come out with. I mean, the amount of damage they've done to their name, that's worth millions, and they're about to go public. They've got shows in Denver set up and everywhere already, and they've already slandered. It's done. Like, it's done. I'd be shocked to see if they'd have to cancel half their shows.
Sort of stepped on the wrong dick on this one.
How they come out and try to make this good, because I think that there's definitely an opportunity to show everyone that, yes, there were some things that went badly, and, they recognize that. I am not writing HempCon off. I've done a lot of HempCons, and I probably will be more, depending on how they handle this situation. So that's just kind of what we're waiting to see.
I would say that as well. I'm not writing HempCon off as well. It's a double-edged sword. I was thinking about this driving my ass all the way back from Vegas, going, Denver I couldn't vend, HempCon I couldn't vend, and I'm just like, and to me, vend it, I'm not trying to go sell weed. I'm trying to vend my products,
right,
which is numerous things. But at the same time, and it is promotion to be there. But no, yeah, I'm sitting there going, fuck these cups driving home. But then I'm sitting here thinking about it. I love these cups. If these cups weren't here,
I can't count the number of times leaving the High Times cup saying I'll never do another one. And guess what? I'm there at the very next
I feel like that's an every year thing.
Yep.
Almost an every year thing. Oh man, fuck these cups. They do absolutely nothing, and then you get emails for the next 4 months.
But if they were gone, you would miss them so much, because it's an awesome experience.
Absolutely.
Everybody gets together. It's more than the networking than all the money you lose.
Right now, it's
and I think Las Vegas will get there. Las Vegas will be an awesome stop for us on this tour. But we just kind of, the planning needs to be a little bit better, and we need to have better communication between the city and the police department, and, the venue and the vendors.
Sure.
So I think this is just going to be a learning experience for everyone in this game.
Look,
if they're not watching, they're definitely doomed to repeat it. So.
The crazy thing is there's all these other shows I go to, and it's just like people just are blazing up, and it's not even at a normal. It's not even a weed show. Even they're just like people don't. It just depends on if you. Basically, we shouldn't even call anything weed like at all. Just be like home show.
Even the Bruce Banner Bowl.
Lifestyle show.
Even the Bruce Banner Bowl. I tried to throw a promotion, throw a concert with some seed sales going on there. Cops came, told us that's not going to fly or whatever. I mean, it happens to the best of us.
I made my living for 18 years without maybe more than Seattle Hemp Fest on my schedule.
I definitely want to get a free boost.
Events in Vegas go very well. I mean, Dragon Brothers threw their own recently. It went flawless. There's one Thursday. I'm sure it'll go flawless. I do like 10 a year out here in Vegas. And I mean, never seen any of them have problems like this in my life.
No, Vegas almost felt like it was getting to the point where it was like, hey, it's going to be no problem here. And then all of a sudden, this is like the first little snap at.
So I have something I want to say, but I don't know the details of this event. So I just want to say something with the context that I don't know the details.
Like somebody just to guess, I would think somebody didn't pay somebody.
Yeah. So we're going to wrap it up, guys, because we have to kind of round down our last 10, 15 minutes. We'll let you talk, of course. You get to rant.
Thank you.
But thanks for calling in and helping us clear this up a little bit, and just keep us up to date for sure.
Hey, Adam, thank you. Appreciate you. Hey, what up, Adam? Pony Boy, Marijuana's in the house right now, yeah.
Pony boy. Shit, it's Cheesecake Lady. What's happening, bro?
Hey, much love, guys. Adam, man, thank you so much, man, for helping this situation out, man, because this is our city, man. Thing that we want to do is bring a bad name to our city, man, other than...
Hey, I want to say something to Pony Boy, too.
Our county brothers and sisters, wherever they medicate, you guys are all welcome to Vegas. I'm telling you, with open arms. We love you, Adam.
Of course.
I've been knowing you forever. Keep on doing your shit, Adam. What's up, my nuggets?
Wait 1 second there. We got Cheesecake Lady wants to talk to you.
Hey, Pony Boy, what's happening?
Who's that?
It's Cheesecake Lady.
What up, Cheesecake Lady?
Hey, on Saturday I'm going to fucking Florence to visit Eddie for his birthday. So you want me to say hi to him for you?
For sure, man. For sure. Please send my
I'm going to give him a big hug from you, man.
For sure.
Awesome.
And we're sending positive vibes to you. Oh, my... Man, you know what? You just gave me the munchies thinking about your cheesecakes. Oh, my God.
I miss you, brother.
I miss you, too, man. God bless all you guys. Spoke up, man. Nug Life Radio all up in your mouth.
Peace. Thanks, baby.
It's like a hurricane just blew through here. Hey, thank you guys very much. We appreciate your time.
No problem. Thank you for calling in, for sure.
We appreciate it very much, guys.
Thanks, guys.
All right, man. Peace.
All right, now I can get my 2 cents in here.
There you go.
So my feeling is if you're going to throw an event and you know that that's going to be mad with cops, you can't be wink-wink with the people you bring there because they're going to travel across state lines with products that they do want to sell or they do want to share. And if they have to take that in both directions, it's a double risk, and it's not fucking cool to do that shit to people. Just because you want to legitimize your event by having weed there, if people get away with it, if you know it's going to be risky, you got to fucking be straight with the people coming.
They don't want to have to drive across state lines to get there, let alone
and bring it fucking back.
Bring it back.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it'd be stupid to do that.
That's what I mean.
How many times have I traveled with seeds going to a show and then I don't sell any of them, and then I'm just leaving with a friend there and be like, then I never get the money back, and he never gives me that. Oh yeah, I gave those to whatever. Yep.
We've all liquidated at some kind of festival to get the hell out without risking our freedom.
And to me, it really wasn't as much like packing up the seeds or any of that stuff. It was just the logistics of it, man. Like I gotta spark in LA. It doesn't hold anything. It's like trying to put a whole display, flat screen TVs, the whole LA Cannabis Cup booth like display thing we had. We're going to crush it out. And I had to rent cars, fly in employees, like all this stuff. And it was all predicated on a fucking lie. And if you would have told me in the fucking very beginning that there's no displaying, no nothing. I mean, he told me there was a medicating area. So it's like, if I had my phone wasn't dead, I'd blast your name, Mr. Salesman, dude, because you're fucking full of shit. But other than that, I feel for HimCon. I don't really think it was the higher ups of HimCon that were trying to fuck me. I think you rented a building, you put together a promotion, you're so deep into it, and you're gonna lose your ass, and you tried to wiggle your ass through it, and it was a terrible fucking idea. I should have canceled it, or. Yeah, I don't know. I shouldn't really comment too much on it, but I do know I'm irritated.
Check your emails. That's the problem. You didn't check it. You're gonna go home and see like 10 emails. Like, God damn it! I didn't open those ones. Like, don't come.
That's true too. We get a lot of emails, and maybe you did try to correspond with me, and it's my fault. So sorry if I jumped down your throat on this, but we showed up wearing giant clown shoes at that event, and I will say one thing: my cop radar is in fucking pristine condition, because I walked in there and I was just like, no. I mean, like before even anything happened, I was just like, no. And I just felt it. And then before you knew it, I think it was just going crazy all around me. And I was there for 45 minutes and left. And then I just started checking the texts, and before you knew it, even Josh from La Plata was like, I'm staying. I'll stay. We'll figure this out. It's always a little crazy. And I'm like, we're out. And I talked to Josh, and he's like, I never set up. Like, shit was crazy. And I'm like, yeah, I figured.
And you can tell right away whether the cops are there to...
Once the show gets sucked like that,
or to fuck people over.
Once you see a bunch of empty booths and things, and then you hear, it's been like, it's the worst, Already, like, when you go to a show and the whole outside's empty, like, there's no... they didn't sell all the booths.
Sure.
They make it all on one side, and you're like, oh, don't even want to be here.
But don't give up, HemCon or Vegas, whoever, another promoter. Don't give up. Try it again. Vegas is dope. I want to come back and do it.
Just don't use the word con in your name. That's always a bad angle. Like whenever it's HempCon or CanaCon or whatever KushCon, it always has, like, for me, like a death nail built into it. It's like
it still has con right in there. Yeah, you don't want to fucking say that shit about yourself.
Yeah, it's like negatives. We're just bringing on the negative there. So, all right. Well, we got about 7 minutes left. So, what else you got? You got any other fun stuff besides all your misery and pain? Misery and pain.
Yeah, that was a bummer. But yeah, I got so much awesome things going on right now. I feel so blessed. Like, just keep getting crazy, amazing phone calls of amazing opportunities. Like I said, like
good.
The SpaceX thing just sort of landed in my lap, and as far as I know, we're going to send a few seeds up into orbit for 3 weeks.
Space.
They're not going to germinate or anything like that. There will be
but
then they're going to send them back down.
I
mean, in theory, you could throw a seed in the air and probably catch it, and that's 0G seed for 2 seconds. But
I don't think it works like that.
I would like to send it. I would like to send it up and test it.
Two's been calling it space purge forever. That's been his whole thing. So he wants to purge in space. Just like put it up and there you go, it's done. It gets cold purge.
Gas.
So you can see if that's a possibility, and I can give Two the credit on that one. But space, we actually did a thing because 2007 they found water on the moon. Right, there was like a weird. Hey, by the way, after all this time, we didn't realize it's like a bunch of water up here. We could have been living here. So we did a video where we took the Dark Star, which is our new strain, and we went to the moon and planted it on the moon. So I wouldn't mind getting semi closer to reality.
That video is ridiculous
we'll
too.
Get it up.
That video's great. The video's awesome. Come on, man. That was done the night before the Cup. That was a classic where it was like the night before the Cup, 2 a.m. in the garage of like a multi-use garage with a bunch of people shooting a video. And people coming to work at 6 a.m. and it's like kind of getting up to their car and like, what the hell? And we're still trying to do it. And
it looked like a bad Beastie Boys video.
It was. That's a good video.
That's a good video.
That's exactly what we're going for. We're going for the bad Beastie Boy look,
Beasties.
and we achieved it. So, we tried to condense the misery into one show, but it's going to overflow. You're part of the misery show.
I feel like I've been painted into this corner by being well informed. It's really not fair.
Bearer of bad news at all times.
I used to be like the bearer of good times.
Give me one quick scenario. So, what is the 36 plant count for the whole state thing going down, or is that not? That's not. It's not the 6. It's not the 6 plant.
Okay, so it's going to be
6, is it?
any individual grow over 99 plants, you're going to have a license from the state.
Okay, so basically it has
so
it becomes
any
commercial.
plant grow from 6 plants for your rec, between there and the 99 plants, you're going to have to be on the caregiver registry. Right. Or you're going to have to be on the personal grower registry. Wow. So if you have, like I have a 24 plant count. I don't need 99. I don't have room for 99.
Sure.
But 24 is good. It gives me some variety. It gives me some room to play around, blah, blah, blah. Anyway.
Because you're over 6, you have to go to caregiver mode, or no?
No, but I would have to be registered as somebody whose doctor had given me more than 6 plants.
Right.
And arguably my doctor is saying that I'm making edibles, which, big shock. I have been making edibles. The scenario essentially becomes that they're saying, that relationship, once the doctor's saying that you could have more than 6 plants. Now, essentially, you could have 12 plants in your house, 3 in flower for your rec, 3 in bloom for your rec, and 6 other plants for your medical, however you choose to designate them. And the product of all of that grow. You could store that in your home. But essentially, and I look at it that...
Does that work per person or per household?
Per medical, like if you're a medical patient, you can have your 6 medical. Okay. But if you read the Constitution specifically says I can't share my medical grow with any person that's not a patient. Now, it also says as an adult I can share my cannabis with anybody over 21. And my feeling is anybody who's a grower is proud of what they grow. If it's tomatoes or radishes or zucchini, they want to share that with shit.
You have too many of them. You're not going to eat I can eat all my tomatoes. I have 14,000 pounds of tomatoes. I'm going to eat them all.
Fucking canning. I love canning. Anyway, But my point is that if you want to be able to share freely with any person over 21, you, as a medical patient, you essentially need to grow your recreational plants in addition so that you have plants that you can legally share. Otherwise, you're violating the law.
And just pushing everything towards rec.
You can't share your medicine, is I guess what they're trying to say. You know, you can't share your Oxycontin, you can't share your Adderall.
I got a quick question for Jessica. What do you know about this new out-of-state investor thing that happened where you can be an out-of-state investor, but as far as I understand, out-of-state investors are allowed now, but you cannot be a corporation. You cannot own anything. Like, what's the point?
It's a registry of out-of-state interest.
Financial backing.
The word is not investment. It's called interests. So essentially, if you bought a building and were renting it to somebody in the industry and their business was leveraged against paying you the rent and the mortgage on this building, you could register on this registry of interest. But let's be honest, this shit was written by industry. It was fast-tracked through the House in the last 8 days of the session. Yep. There was some unseemliness going down in the basement during those last several days, to say the least, with Cederberg and Louis Koski. Essentially, do you want to know what I think happened here? A lot of these people with the big money who basically bled out and waited for the fucking leeching to bleed out all the mom and pops, now they need more money because it's expensive to wait while you're bleeding somebody else out. And some of these mom and pops were talented enough to hang on longer than they expected them to.
What did you see strain-wise?
Did I say them?
No, did you see them? What just happened with strain-wise?
No, what happened?
Oh, yeah.
They just laid off half their workforce?
No, they laid off 65% of their
More
workforce.
Than 65%. 32
but now,
licenses.
let's get into that. Because they didn't lay off the Bud Bunnies and the fucking, front of house staff. They laid off the fucking grow. Yep. Come the fuck on. That's the product that you're selling. That's what you're making all of your fucking blast down. Everything that you fucking are and stand for comes from your fucking grow. If it doesn't, who the fuck are you and why are you in this industry?
Somebody convinced them that they can get 4 pounds of light, and they're like, why am I keeping all these guys in here?
Can I keep just feeding Jessica people's names and let her just go off on them? What about Cam?
No, we can't do that.
Well, that's just, I mean...
Don't even start.
Yeah, because that's...
Sorry.
Wait,
it's the drama show. I thought we were getting into all the bullshit. What about Cam?
You can take me to lunch and I'll dish on that for fucking longer than you have to fucking eat, and you'll lose your appetite.
How could you eat?
I mean, exactly. Come on, that fucking woman, how dare she fucking put her name in the paper with her ex-husband's name? Yeah. Use your own name, bitch. All right, I'll just end it at that. Use your own name because those are the crimes you committed.
Yes.
Don't be using your formerly married name to commit crimes, you whore.
Shout-outs.
With that?
Was that one?
Yeah, there we go. With that,
we're going to go to shout-outs.
Maybe you don't have to buy me lunch. Maybe you can just order me a pizza after that.
Start with you,
Mr. Dark Horse.
Dark Horse Genetics. Check out Seattle store. Check out the LA store. Denver, I'm trying to get through the med to get this store open.
Yeah, probably be it down in Springs or something at first, you think? Or
No, we're going to be in Denver.
Okay, I just thought maybe since,
maybe
easier, we'd probably open one tomorrow.
Might go to Pueblo, I have to say.
But then there's no recreational in Springs.
I heard they're going to do it.
Pueblo?
Eventually they will.
Right. The darkhorsegenetics.com, iPhone app, and I'm good. Thanks.
Boom.
Oh, me?
Yeah.
So I'll give a shout-out to Homegrown Natural Wonders still, to my Grant Country Club, and I don't know. I don't have too many exciting other shout-outs to offer the world, but... all my fanboys, you can, still waiting on those dick pics, boys.
You didn't send yours?
Nope.
But I noticed he knew I was coming back, and no fucking man bun.
I had it in earlier. I took it out.
I took it out right when you walked in.
I'm
getting
happily
struck fear in his heart.
So on that note, shout out to my beautiful girlfriend Brittany,
and your man
the
bun.
guys from Grab Labs for hooking me up with all my pieces, Vapor Brothers, Green Diamond Stonewolf for giving some freebies as well, and my mom, dad, and Puppy Duke, of course.
Nice.
I get nothing as usual.
Come on, Mike. Big shout
out to my laptop.
Say something in masshole-ish.
I got nothing.
That's it.
I think that is masshole-ish.
I got nothing.
Under pressure.
Shout out to my beautiful wife Cece, holding down the East store there, and the house, and the kid, and the craziness, and the little one Nick, who's running things. And
I know. I got a funny one here.
Good. Go for it.
Shout out to Tim Martin, who's downstairs waiting for me.
Oh, Tim Martin.
Are you serious?
Say Martin.
Tell him to wait till I come down there so I can kick him in the ass.
Say Tim Martin.
I think I just did.
No, loud more.
Tim Martin?
No.
No.
Tim Martin.
Tim Martin.
There you go. And shout out to my mom, Ace, down at the farm, and Kyle and Gannon and all those guys. And AU Extracts also for just keeping it up and rolling along with us. Awesome, thanks.
And I'll do Mitch's for him. So shout out to Reese and shout out to Baby Farron. It's her birthday today.
Oh yeah, it's her birthday.
Oh.
So happy birthday,
Happy
Farron.
birthday.
Happy birthday.
That was beautiful. Now we're gonna have to pay
Farron.
royalties to fucking happy birthday.
No,
That's more than 25 years old,
I thought it was
homie.
only like $200.
No, you do. You pay royalties for happy birthday, and
Isn't
it's
it like
got to be
$200?
70 years old. Is the public domain?
fuck
yeah.
that.
Thank you
It's
for that
expensive.
lesson
But
today.
yeah,
The
Reese,
kid.
Baby Farron. Thanks a lot. See you guys next week.
Peace. Shout out to Tim Martin.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Back from Omaha.
Kids.